The Arctic night is not empty. It waits, it listens, and sometimes it hunts. Under a sky pierced by frozen stars, where the moon hangs like a blade carved from ice, the wind cries across the tundra, not like weather, but like something mourning, ancient, alive. The snow doesn't just fall here, it whispers, it hides, it erases, it buries the footprints of those who dared to cross its endless white silence. In this stillness, something stirs, a shape too large to be real, a shadow that moves without a sound, without mercy. It is not part of a pack, it does not howl to the moon, it hunts alone. The Inuit call it Amarok, a name spoken only in whispers, in the glow of seal oil lamps and the hush of fire-lit stories passed from elder to child. Not a bedtime tale, not a warning, a truth. Amarok is no ordinary wolf. It is the Arctic itself made flesh, cold, unyielding, and older than memory. A predator born of silence and shaped by rage, not driven by hunger, but by purpose. Those who wander into the snow, proud and alone, may never return, not because they got lost, but because something found them. This is no beast of the wild. This is not myth or madness. This is punishment. This is judgment. This is Amarok.
Long before the age of maps and modern borders, the Arctic was a realm of extremes, frozen oceans, unending nights, and a silence so vast it could crush the spirit. It was in this land of isolation and survival that the Inuit people forged their lives and their stories. Among the most haunting of these is the tale of Amarok, a creature said to have been born not of flesh and blood, but from the very essence of the wild itself. The myth finds its roots in Greenland, northern Canada, and parts of Alaska, where Inuit communities lived in intimate connection with nature. To them, the wilderness was not just background. It was a living force that watched, remembered, and responded. Amarok was never seen as a mere wolf. It stood outside the natural order, solitary and supernatural, walking between the world of men and the realm of spirits. While ordinary wolves relied on the safety of the pack, Amarok defied the rule of numbers. It hunted alone, not out of necessity, but by sacred design. Solitude was its strength, and from that solitude came its legend. To Western eyes, Amarok might appear as a monster. But to the Inuit, Amarok was not evil. It was a being of balance and consequence. It served as a spiritual enforcer, a reminder that no one, no matter how skilled, proud, or brave, was greater than the forces of the earth. It was said that those who disrespected nature, who killed for sport, who mocked the wisdom of elders, or wandered into the tundra in arrogance, invited the Amarok's attention. And Amarok never warned. It never chased. It simply appeared, and then it was over. The beast's presence became a cultural cautionary tale, passed down in oral tradition to teach humility and survival. It reminded people that the land is not owned, it is endured. And those who failed to understand this would face the consequence. Among Inuit shamans, called Angakik, Amarok was sometimes seen in a more complex light. For some, it was not only a punisher, but also a protector of the natural balance. There are stories of shamans seeking visions in the ice and snow, where Amarok would appear, not to harm, but to guide. In rare tales, it tested the soul of a human, distinguishing strength from hubris. This duality, both terrifying and sacred, is what makes Amarok unique in the Inuit pantheon. It is not summoned, controlled, or appeased. It is a law unto itself, much like the blizzards and glaciers it moves through. In the heart of the Arctic, where even the polar bear is king, there is a predator that exists beyond natural law. The Inuit speak of it in whispers, a wolf larger than any living creature, with a form that seems carved from the very bones of the night. Amarok is not just a beast. It is a shadow given flesh, a silhouette of fear etched against the snow. Descriptions passed down through generations paint it as colossal, with a body towering above a polar bear and a gait that defies both weight and sound. Despite its massive frame, Amarok moves with spectral grace, its paws making no noise, but sinking deep into the snow as if the earth itself bows beneath it. Its fur is said to be blacker than a moonless night, absorbing light like a void. No glint, no shimmer, no outline. It melts into the shadows and emerges only when it chooses to strike. Hunters claim they never saw it until it was already upon them, a ripple in the air, then teeth in the throat. When it moves through the forest, its outline blurs and stretches like smoke. In the open tundra, it blends perfectly with the long shadows cast by jagged icebergs and wind-blown snow dunes. It is said that even when it stands before you, it is hard to know where its body ends and the darkness begins. What gives it away, what haunts the dreams of those who claim to have seen it, are its eyes. They are not warm, nor fiery, nor wild. Instead, they glow with an eerie, pale luminescence, like stars reflected in ice, distant and ancient. Looking into them is said to freeze a person in place, not from magic, but from a sudden understanding of insignificance, as if staring into the raw judgment of the wilderness itself. Even in the cruelest winter, Amarok's breath steams in the air, not as mist, but as something thick and heavy, like smoke rising from burning bone. Some tales describe it as smelling of iron, death, and the deep earth. To breathe near Amarok, they say, is to taste the grave. Its claws are not just weapons of the flesh, they are believed to cut through the spirit. In Inuit oral tradition, those struck by Amarok were found with no visible wounds, yet their faces were twisted in terror, and their souls seemed emptied, as if Amarok had torn something loose from within that could never be returned. In many versions of the legend, Amarok is more than a physical animal. It is a liminal being, walking between the worlds of the living and the spirit. It appears at dusk, in dreams, or during vision quests, where reality is thin. It is said to vanish without a trace, even when it was just seen towering over a ridge. Some believe it can pass through ice, ride on the wind, or step between moments in time. Shamans who meditated on the creature described it as a presence that cannot be tracked, only felt. They say Amarok is neither ghost nor god, but something older, something that has always been. Among the countless tales whispered through the Arctic wind, one story stands above the rest, a tale not just of survival, but of transformation, and of the shadow that walks alongside every soul who enters the wild alone. There was once a young boy, born small and sickly, in a village where strength meant survival. He was mocked by hunters, pitted by elders, and ignored by warriors. He could not carry the weight of a spear nor run fast across the ice. The others called him a burden, a shadow too weak to cast his own. One night, as a storm rolled over the tundra and the aurora danced like spirits across the sky, the boy slipped away. He took a knife and a bow far too big for his arms. He would hunt alone, he told himself. He would bring back proof of his strength. But the forest did not welcome him. As he wandered beneath the black pines and snow-heavy boughs, the air grew still. Even the birds fell silent. That's when he felt it, eyes watching, heavy and ancient. From the shadows, it emerged, Amarok, a wolf the size of a glacier bear, its black fur blending into the night, its eyes cold and star-bright. The boy froze. His bow trembled. His knife fell from numb fingers. He knew he had made a terrible mistake. But the wolf did not strike. Instead, Amarok circled him, slow and silent. It studied him, not with hunger, but with judgment. And then, it did something no one expected. It walked away, then stopped, and waited. Night after night, the boy returned. Amarok was always there. At first, it watched. Then it began to test him. It would kill game, rabbits, birds, even a caribou, and leave them for the boy to butcher and learn. It led him to hidden springs, safe trails, and high ridges where the stars touched the snow. And with each lesson, the boy changed. He grew stronger, not just in muscle, but in mind. He learned to track, to wait, to understand the rhythm of the forest. But most importantly, he learned respect for the land, for its spirits, and for the silence. Years passed. The weak child became a hunter unmatched. When he returned to the village, they did not recognize him. But he did not boast. He did not mock. He simply offered food to the elders, taught the younger ones how to listen to the snow, and spoke little of his time in the wild. When asked how he had survived, he would only say, "I listened," and the forest answered. Some say he became a great leader. Others believe he was a shaman, forever changed by the spirit of Amarok. A few claim that when he died, his soul walked into the forest and never returned, joining the great wolf in its eternal haunt. This tale is unlike most predator myths. Amarok, in this story, is not a killer of the weak, but a tester of the heart. A being that does not destroy for sport, but examines the soul, rewarding humility and punishing pride. In this version, Amarok is more than beast. It is a mirror of spirit, a guardian of natural law. Yet not all stories end in growth. Many legends tell of those who ignored warnings, men who boasted of their strength, laughed at the cold, or challenged the wild as if it were prey. These men, the tales say, vanished. Their bodies were sometimes found days later, torn open with claw marks far too large for any known animal. Others left no trace but a trail of deep paw prints that led into the blizzard and disappeared. Hunters tell of strange howls on windless nights, and of eyes gleaming at the edge of campfires, watching, judging, deciding whether the soul within the man is worthy or not. Amarok is not a monster to be slain, nor a god to be worshipped. It is a trial, a test, and only those who walk with humility may survive the eyes of the wolf that walks alone. To the Inuit, Amarok is not a monster of nightmares, nor a villain from fairy tales. It is something far more potent, a force of meaning woven into the very fabric of their relationship with the land, the spirit world, and the human condition. It is not just a beast of flesh and claw. It is a reflection of solitude, humility, and survival in the most extreme environment on Earth. Unlike the werewolves of Western folklore, Amarok does not kill in a frenzy, nor is it cursed or corrupted. It does not slaughter for hunger or hatred. Amarok kills for balance. Its very existence teaches lessons that echo across generations, lessons carved in snow and remembered in silence. In the Arctic, to be alone is to be at the mercy of nature. Amarok is a living symbol of that danger. It appears when someone ventures too far beyond the warmth of community, when pride blinds them to the truth that no human survives the cold alone. It is a reminder that isolation is not strength, it is vulnerability. And those who ignore this lesson may find themselves face to face with the wolf that does not bark, that does not warn, but simply ends. Amarok represents the harsh justice of the natural world. It is not cruel, but it is unforgiving. Those who boast of their power, who mock the traditions of their ancestors, or who think themselves invincible in the face of wind and snow, invite its judgment. To challenge the wilderness without humility is to challenge Amarok itself, and Amarok never loses. It serves as a silent, stalking reminder that no one is above the land, and that even the strongest can be brought low by arrogance. But Amarok is not only a punisher, it is also a tester, a judge not of muscle, but of soul. For those who face the wild with honesty, fear, and respect, Amarok may appear not as a killer, but as a guide. Some believe that the wolf chooses whom it spares, that it can see into the heart and knows whether a person seeks dominion or seeks understanding. To encounter Amarok and survive is to emerge changed, stronger, wiser, more in tune with the land. Amarok is the very embodiment of the Arctic's truths, beautiful and brutal, calm and merciless, silent and alive. It walks between realms, between life and death, between myth and reality. To fear Amarok is natural. To respect Amarok is wisdom. To learn from Amarok is to survive. Though born in the frozen stillness of Inuit oral tradition, Amarok has not faded with time. It has prowled beyond the boundaries of legend, slipping into the shadows of modern imagination, its image transformed, yet its spirit remarkably intact. In Inuit communities, the story of Amarok is still told beside fires, in whispered warnings, and in ceremonial retellings. For them, Amarok is not a myth to be commercialized, but a sacred symbol, a guardian of balance, a manifestation of the land's will, and a reminder that nature always watches. Yet outside the Arctic, Amarok has taken on new forms, shapes molded by fantasy, commerce, and metaphor. Across books, films, and video games, Amarok has emerged as a figure of mystical power. In fantasy universes, it is often reimagined as a giant spirit wolf, guarding ancient temples, protecting sacred realms, or guiding chosen warriors through trials. These modern depictions, though fictional, echo the creature's roots, solitary, formidable, and deeply spiritual. Whether as a summoned beast in role-playing games or as a mythic guardian in graphic novels, Amarok's image as a lone wolf beyond the natural world continues to captivate storytellers and audiences alike. In a more literal translation of strength and independence, the automotive industry has adopted the name. Volkswagen named one of its pickup trucks Amarok, marketing it as a symbol of rugged durability and solitary power. The name was no accident, chosen to invoke the image of a powerful creature that travels far, carries heavy burdens, and stands alone without fear. While stripped of its cultural and spiritual depth, this usage still reflects the enduring aura of dominance and self-reliance that the Amarok name evokes. Writers, poets, and psychologists have also embraced Amarok, not as a beast, but as a metaphor. In literature, Amarok is sometimes depicted as the embodiment of inner darkness, the shadow within the human psyche that hunts in solitude. For some characters, it is a symbol of repressed rage or unresolved trauma. For others, it becomes a figure of transformation, the test of one's soul, the guardian at the threshold of personal growth. In this way, Amarok continues to speak to something primal and eternal, the idea that within every person lies a wild place, a silent danger, a power that must be faced and understood. Despite these evolving portrayals, for the Inuit, Amarok is not a brand, not a mascot, and not a fantasy. It is still a spiritual truth, a creature of myth, yes, but also a moral compass, a reflection of the landscape's will, and a reminder that humans are never above the laws of the natural world. The Amarok endures because it speaks to something universal, the need for humility, the danger of pride, and the ever-present reality that nature, though quiet, is never passive. As long as people walk the edge of the wild, as long as the cold wind whispers through the trees and the snow remembers our steps, the legend of Amarok will live on, a shadow at the edge of the firelight, waiting to teach, to test, or to take. In the vast white silence of the Arctic, where daylight vanishes for months and the wind carries voices long forgotten, something ancient still moves. It does not leave trails. It does not howl. But it watches. Amarok, the giant wolf that walks alone, still roams the frozen edges of the world, shrouded in snow, cloaked in shadow. Its breath mists in the air like a warning. Its presence is felt more than seen, a weight in the air, a whisper in the trees, a flicker at the corner of the eye. You won't hear it coming. You won't see it waiting. But if you stray too far from firelight, if you walk into the wild with arrogance in your chest and no respect in your heart, it will find you. Because Amarok is more than a legend. It is a boundary made flesh. A boundary between man and wilderness. Between humility and pride. Between life and whatever lies beyond the final snowfall. Some say it protects. Others say it punishes. The truth may be both, or neither. For Amarok does not explain. It does not justify. It simply is. And though it walks alone, its legend walks with us all, haunting the edge of every campfire, pacing behind every lone traveler, reminding us that the wild is watching. Forever silent, forever vast, and never truly empty. The Amarok hunts alone, but its shadow follows every soul who dares to walk the snow.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.